Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Pandra Beauty Farm Church of Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jai Gaur Pramanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 4, chapter number 4, titled Sati Quits Her Body. Text number 13. Nascharyameta jadasatsu sarvada. Nascharyameta jadasatsu sarvada. Mahad vininda kunapatma vadisu. Mahad vininda kunapatma vadisu. Sesyam mahapurusapadapum sube. Sesyam mahapurusapadapum sube. Nirasdateja sutadeva sobanam. Nirasdateja sutadeva sobanam. Nascharyameta jadasatsu sarvada. Mahad vininda kunapatma vadisu. Sesyam mahapurusapadapam sube. Nirastateja sutadeva sobanam. Nascharyameta jadasatsu sarvada. Mahad vininda kunapatma vadisu. Sesyam mahapurusapadapam sube. Nirastateja sutadeva sobanam. Ascharyametad yadasatsu sarvada. Mahadvininda kunapatmavadisu. Sesam mahapurusapadapam subhe. Nirastateja sutadeva sobanam. Would you like to try? Would you like to try? Word for word translation. Na, not. Ascharyam, wonderful. Etat, this. Yat, which. Asatsu, evil. Sarvada, always. Mahat Vininda, the deriding of great souls. Kunapa Atma Vadisu, among those who have accepted the dead body as the self. Sa Irsyam, envy. Mahapurusa, of great personalities. Padapam subhihi, by the dust of the feet. Nirasta tejasu, whose glory is diminished. Tat, that. Eva, certainly. Sobhanam, very good. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. It is not wonderful for persons who have accepted the transient material body as the self to engage always in deriding great souls. Such envy on the part of materialistic persons is very good, because that is the way they fall down. They are diminished by the dust of the feet of great personalities. Purport. Everything depends on the strength of the recipient. For example, due to the scorching sunshine, many vegetables and flowers dry up, and many grow luxuriantly. Thus, it is the recipient that causes growth and dwindling. Similarly, Mahi Yasampada Rajobhisekam, the dust of the lotus feet of great personalities, offer all good to the recipient, but the same dust can also do harm. Those who are offenders at the lotus feet of a great personality dry up, their godly qualities diminish. A great soul may forgive offenses, but Krishna does not excuse offenses to the dust of that great soul's feet, just as one can tolerate the scorching sunshine on one's head, but cannot tolerate the scorching sunshine on one's feet. And offender glides down more and more. Therefore, he naturally continues to commit offenses at the feet of the great soul. Offenses are generally committed by persons who falsely identify with the impermanent body. King Daksha was deeply engrossed in a misconception because he identified the body with the soul. He offended the lotus feet of Lord Shiva because he thought that his body, being the father of the body of Sati, was superior to Lord Shiva's. Generally, less intelligent men misidentify in that way, and they act in the bodily concept of life. Thus, they are subject to commit more and more offenses at the lotus feet of great souls. One who has such a concept of life is considered to be in the class of animals, like cows and asses. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksulmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone for coming to Bhagavatam class today. We're continuing our discussion from the 4th chapter of Canto 4, titled Sati Quits Her Body. So we've been discussing about this bit of enmity between Lord Shiva and Daksha. Shiva, from his side, he doesn't have any bad feelings or enmity towards Daksha, but Daksha, we've been seeing how he's very much envious of Lord Shiva. And due to the request of his father Brahma, Daksha, he's forced to give his daughter in marriage to Shiva. To the very person he envies, he has to give his daughter to. So Daksha reluctantly, he's given his daughter to Lord Shiva, whom he is very envious. Prabhupada explains that Daksha is very proud and puffed up, being the chief Prajapati in the universe. He is directly a son of Lord Brahma, and Brahma has given him the title as the chief of all the Prajapatis. So he's very much puffed up and proud. And naturally, when someone is proud, they expect everyone to give them respect, to give them honor, to give them glorification. But instead, Daksha sees that in general, around the universe, everyone is glorifying Lord Shiva more than him. In general, everywhere, everyone is offering more respect and more honor to Lord Shiva than they are doing to him. And when he sees this, he becomes envious. Why is everyone offering more respect to Lord Shiva? Why is Lord Shiva being glorified more? Why is he getting honored so much? Who is this Lord Shiva? I am so great. I have so much opulence. I've done so many sacrifices. Just look at my position. Just look at all the service I have done. And on the other side, there's this personality called Lord Shiva. He doesn't have a home, house. He just walks around like a madman. He has a garland of skulls. He covers himself with ashes. So he's acting just like a madman, and somehow everyone is offering more glorification. So in this way, Prabhupada explains this envy of this envy of Daksha towards Lord Shiva has been going on for a long time. So generally, Prabhupada explains when someone is envious of someone, they want to bring that person down. So Daksha, he's carrying this envy, and he's just looking for an opportunity to vent out his anger, frustration, envy on Lord Shiva. So in the previous chapters we were seeing when he was performing a sacrifice, and when all the devatas came, when he had entered the assembly and Lord Shiva didn't stand up, he took that as an excuse to vent out his envy. And Prabhupada is explaining that this envy was going on for a long time. And as a result of that, he started blaspheming Lord Shiva with such harsh and cruel words. And we were discussing over the last few weeks the glories of Lord Shiva, how tolerant he was. Yesterday, Madhiji was explaining that generally if someone is speaking such harsh words towards us, naturally we would speak something in our defense, we would retaliate. But Lord Shiva, he was so self-controlled that he just maintained silent. He didn't say anything in return. He didn't defend himself, he just kept silent. So if we put ourselves in that position, very difficult. One requires a lot of self-control. It is said that out of all the senses, the sense of speech is the most hardest to control. Like before taking prasadam, we chant the Mahaprasadam Govinda prayers, and that prayers, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that out of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and the most uncontrollable. So we have 5 senses, sense of speech, sense of hearing, sense of sight, skin, and smell. Out of all of these different senses, the most powerful sense, the most difficult sense to control is the tongue. So when someone is insulting us, blaspheming us, the natural tendency is to use our tongue to defend or to fight back or to retaliate. But Lord Shiva, he is so self-controlled, he's able to control his sense of speech, and he's just able to just remain silent and not say anything in response. So in this way we see throughout different sections of Bhagavatam the glories of Lord Shiva, of why he is called as the greatest of all Vaishnavas. So Vaishnavanam Yatashambhu. Out of all the Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is the greatest, the topmost devotee of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita there is given a list of 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is tolerant, he's very merciful, he's compassionate, he's self-controlled, he's gentle, he's mild, he's very expert. Like this, there's a whole list of qualities. And if we go through different pastimes of Lord Shiva in Bhagavatam, you will see how Lord Shiva, he ticks all the boxes. So one of the qualities is tolerance. A Vaishnava is supposed to be very, very tolerant, like a tree. So Lord Shiva, he's demonstrating this in this section of Bhagavatam. He hasn't done anything wrong from his side, and here's this person coming and speaking such cruel, heavy words, but Lord Shiva is just very tolerant and just takes all the insult, doesn't say anything back. So this we can learn from Lord Shiva and take lessons from him. So now as the pastime goes, Daksha, he starts another sacrifice, and this time he doesn't invite Lord Shiva and Sati. But Mother Sati, she wants to go attend this sacrifice because Daksha is Mother Sati's father, and she wants to go and attend this sacrifice that's taking place in her father's place. But Lord Shiva, he wants Mother Sati that, this is not a good idea because you're my wife and because your father hates me, because your father is very envious of me, he doesn't like me. When you go there, although you are the dearmost child of your father, although you're the pet daughter of your father won't respect you. Your father won't properly honor you. In fact, he'll end up insulting you. And this insult of your father will be so intolerable for you that it will be as good as death for you. So like this, Lord Shiva, he predicts the future. And he gives this warning to Mother Sati. So he said, great personalities, whatever they speak will come to come true. For example, Lord Shiva is given like this, Brahma is said like this, in second canto Bhagavatam is mentioned, that Brahma, by the power of his devotional service, whatever he speaks will become the truth. For us, we might say, okay, this will happen, that will happen. It might happen, might not happen. But for great personalities, for a real Brahmana who is practicing spiritual life properly, because of their sincerity in practicing, because in their sincerity in serving Krishna, whatever they will say, whatever they will predict, Krishna, out of love for the Brahmanas, out of love for his great devotees, he will make sure that whatever they say will come true. So here in the previous chapter, Lord Shiva is making this prediction, that don't go to your father's sacrifice. If you go there, your father will insult you. Because you're related to me and your father hates me, he will end up insulting you, although you are his daughter. And this insult will be so intolerable for you, it will be just as good as death. So like this, Lord Shiva, he makes a prediction in the previous chapter. But Mother Sati, now she's stuck between decisions. On one hand, she has this desire to go to her father's sacrifice. On the other hand, her husband is saying, don't go. So she doesn't know what to do. And it's mentioned that she's walking back and forth in the room. Like Prabhupada explained, just like the pendulum of a clock, she's going back and forth thinking, should I go, should I not go, should I go, should I not go? So many times in our life, we'll also come across situations like this. We have to make a choice, we have two decisions, and we don't know which one to go. So what do we do in those circumstances? We have to use our intelligence and take guidance. Narottam Das Thakur says that we should practice spiritual life by taking guidance from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Okay, so this is said to be our GPS system for our spiritual life. Just like if we want to go from North Sydney to a particular street in a particular suburb in Sydney, we need a GPS, right? Either on our phone or actual GPS. We need to turn it on in the car and follow the GPS. If we don't follow the GPS and just go, yeah, I think, this so-and-so street in this suburb is that way, I'll drive this way, then that way. If we just speculate and go based on our own whims, based on our mind, we'll become lost and we won't reach the destination. We can drive around Sydney for many, many days, but still we probably won't reach the destination. But if we have a GPS installed and if we just follow the GPS, very quickly, in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, we will straight away reach our destination. So in the same way, Narottam Das Thakur says, if we want to advance nicely in our spiritual life, we need to follow GPS system. And what is the spiritual GPS system? We have to follow Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So Guru is the spiritual master, sadhus are Vaishnavas, devotees, and Shastra is books like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ishopanishad, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So we have to follow the Shastras. If we don't follow Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, if we just follow our own mind, I feel like doing this, I think this is the right way, I think I should do this. If we just go by our own mental speculation, then there's most likely or 100% chance we won't reach the destination. We won't reach Goloka Vrindavan. We'll just be lost and we'll continue in the cycle of birth and death. So that's why we need to, just like we follow GPS when we're driving around Sydney, same way we need to have a GPS for our spiritual life. So with every step we make in our spiritual life, that step should be guided either by Guru, either by Shastra, or by Sadhu. If we can take guidance from all three, that's great. If we don't have access to one of them, we can take guidance from the other two. Or if we only have guidance from one of them, that's still okay. Sometimes Guru might not be present, we can take guidance from Sadhus and Shastra. Sometimes both Guru and Sadhus aren't present, then we can take guidance from Shastra. So at least from one of these three sources, we should take guidance. In this way, we can make a choice. So whenever these difficult situations come in our life, and when we don't know whether I should do this or whether I should do that. So this happens to us every day. Every day we have different options to choose from. Whether I should go this option, that option, and we're thinking which one is good, then we can take guidance. Either from Shastra, from Guru, or from Sadhus. So Mother Sati, she was fortunate. She had guidance from the greatest of all Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva. So her mind was saying, go to the sacrifice, and see her sisters, see her mother, and socialize, with all of her relatives and family members. So her mind was urging her to go. But on the other side, her Guru or her spiritual master, Lord Shiva, he is instructing her that don't go. This is not good for you. Your father will insult you, and this insult will be just like death for you. So her Guru or spiritual master, in this case, Lord Shiva, he is giving this advice. So which one should she follow? Should she follow her mind, or should she follow the instruction coming from her Guru? Naturally, if she wants to advance, you follow the Guru, right? One shouldn't trust his mind. It is said, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that the mind can be our best friend or our worst enemy. So in our current state of conditional existence, for all of us, mind acts as our worst enemy. When we become a pure devotee, at that stage, mind will act as a best friend. So without us even trying, our mind will always think about Krishna and remind us of Krishna. So when someone is there on the pure devotional platform, at that stage, his mind acts as the best friend. But for all of us, we're not pure devotees yet. So in our current state, Shastras explain, our mind is always acting as our worst enemy. So Sati has two choices, whether she should follow the dictation of her her worst enemy, or whether she should follow the instruction of a Guru. Obviously, the right choice is to follow the Guru, put faith in the words of the Guru and not go. But due to weakness of heart, Prabhupada explains, she succumbs to the dictations of her mind, and she goes against the instructions of Lord Shiva. Now in this chapter we will see how whatever Lord Shiva has predicted will come to pass as true. Lord Shiva predicted that if you go, you'll be insulted, you'll be so broken-hearted that it will be just as good as death for you. Exact same thing we will see happening now. Sati goes to the sacrifice. Her father doesn't even look at her, doesn't even speak any words to her, just completely ignores her. And she's seeing how her father is doing the sacrifice, but no oblations are being put in the name of her husband, Lord Shiva. And she feels so much insulted, so much distressed at this, that we'll see later on this chapter, she just ends up committing suicide. She ends up giving up her body, as Lord Shiva had predicted in the previous chapter. So from this, one lesson we can learn is we should take guidance from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. If we go against the instructions of Guru, then we will go downwards. If we just follow our mind, and who is our mind? Our worst enemy. If we put trust in our worst enemy, where will we go? What does the enemy always try to do? The enemy always tries to put down his enemy and bring them down and to kill them. So that is our mind. Our mind is always pulling us down. But somehow or other, we're conditioned to always follow what our mind is saying. Because we've been in this material world for so many lifetimes. And so many lifetimes, we've just been following our mind. That's why we're used to just doing whatever the mind says. But Shastras explain, when you get this human form of life, you're supposed to rebel against the mind. You're supposed to get spiritual intelligence from Shastra and fight against the mind and ignore the mind and do the right thing by taking guidance from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So here is a classical example of what happens when we don't follow the advice of either Guru, Sadhu or Shastra. Sati, she had access to guidance from a spiritual master like Lord Shiva, but she went against that. And as a result, we're seeing whatever her spiritual master predicted is going to happen in this chapter. That she'll go through so much suffering, so much misery from being insulted by her father, that she just can't take it and she'll give up her body. So when we study Bhagavatam, Prabhupada, he wanted us to analyze Bhagavatam from different angles. So you'll see Srila Prabhupada, he'll do the same thing in his purports. One purport, he will analyze through one angle, other purport, he'll analyze through another angle. So in one level, Prabhupada will help us draw lessons of life, taking Mother Sati just as an ordinary person, just like us. In another purport, Prabhupada will explain how Mother Sati, she's no ordinary person, she's Durga herself. How can she have this material tendency to see her father, to go and meet her relatives. She's beyond all this. Mother Sati, she's directly an expansion of the expansion of the expansion of Srimati Radharani. Just like Lord Shiva, he's expansion of expansion, expansion of expansion of Krishna. Same way, Mother Sati, she's one of the expansions coming down from ultimately Srimati Radharani or Lakshmi Devi. So how can she have this material desire to go see her father, to go see her mother, to go see her sisters? She's beyond all this. She doesn't have these desires. So one purport, Prabhupada will analyze Mother Sati's situation as if she was an ordinary person, wanting to go see her friends and family. And she's being instructed by a guru, don't go, this is bad for you. And due to weakness of heart, she's not able to follow the guru's instruction. And she goes anyway, ignoring the instruction. So one purport, Prabhupada analyzed through that way to help us draw lessons of life, of how we should be very strict in always following the instructions given to us by our senior devotees. And if we don't follow, then opposite result will happen. Other purport, Prabhupada will analyze through another angle and will say, actually Mother Sati is Durga herself. Actually, she didn't want to go to the sacrifice to see her father and sisters. The only reason she went to the sacrifice was to try to convince her father to stop being envious of Lord Shiva. So it's mentioned that Mother Sati, or Lord Shiva's wife, Mother Parvati, she is the mother of the whole universe. So everyone in this universe, they're all sons and daughters of Mother Sati. And they're all sons and daughters of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, he's like our father, and Mother Sati or Parvati, she's like our mother. So when the mother, she sees one of her children being very naughty, doing something wrong, naturally the mother, she feels compassion on the child. Man, my child is doing all these bad things. This is not good for his future. If I don't correct my child, then in the future it can cause big problems in his life. So therefore I must correct him. Just like in Damodar Leela. Mother Yasoda, she's chastising Krishna. Because Mother Yasoda is thinking, if Krishna keeps doing like this is not good for my son's future, I must correct him. It is my duty as mother to correct Krishna. So she gets a stick, and Krishna is afraid, he runs away, and then Mother Yasoda binds Krishna to a grinding mortar. In Damodar Leela we see. So this is the duty of all mothers. that when they see their children doing something wrong, out of love for the child, out of compassion for the child, they try to correct their children. So the children doesn't end up screwing up their life, doing something very bad later on in the future. So actually, although Sati, in terms of this pastime, is the daughter of Daksha, in reality, Daksha is the son of Mother Sati. Because ultimately, Mother Sati is Durga Devi herself. And everyone in this universe, they're all children of Durga Devi. So Mother Sati, she's taking compassion on Daksha. She's thinking, man, this stupid fool, this rascal, Daksha, he is having so much envy towards Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is the greatest of all Vaishnavas. If he continues on acting in this way, he will go to hell and he will suffer so much. I must correct this, this foolish rascal. If I don't correct him, he will just keep on committing more and more offenses, and he will just go down more and more to the hellish planets. So some or other, I need to go to that sacrifice, and with words, I need to convince my father. I need to convince this person, Daksha, to stop being envious, to stop committing aparad against Lord Shiva. If he continues doing this, definitely something very bad is going to happen to him. So out of compassion, simply for the benefit of Daksha, to correct Daksha, that is the only reason why Mother Sati, she leaves Lord Shiva and goes to the sacrifice. So this is another angle Prabhupada, he analyzes in a different purport. So you'll see in Prabhupada's books, same pastime he'll analyze from different angles to help us understand or help us draw different lessons for our spiritual life. On one purport he will just talk about Mother Sati as if she was just one of us, Out of weakness of heart, she couldn't follow the instruction of a guru and she just did what her mind wanted her to do. And because of that, attachment to her father and relatives, she went against Shiva and she went. Another purport, Prabhupada say, actually she's Durga Devi herself. She didn't have any attachment to Daksha, her family, friends. She only went to convince her father from being envious of Lord Shiva, from committing more and more aparad. Out of compassion, she went for Daksha's benefit. Like this way, we'll see Prabhupada, he will help us draw so many lessons from these beautiful pastimes. So going back to following the instructions of Guru. So many times in life, we'll have different choices. Our mind will tell us to do one thing, but our spiritual master or the devotees will tell us to do something else. And then we have a choice, whether we should take guidance from what our well-wishers, what the sadhus and guru is saying, or whether we should just go with what our mind is telling us, or whether we should just go with our heart and just do what we think is right. So as we all know, the right thing to do is to always put trust in the words of senior devotees and the guru and follow what they're saying. But so many times in our lives, we go against what senior devotees tell us to do. Why? Because of weakness of heart. I think, has anyone had this experience? They know something is wrong, and other devotees have told them, don't do this, it's wrong. But still, for one reason or another, they end up doing it. Have you all had this experience? Yes, everyone is nodding. So why do we do something we know is not good for us? Why do we do something which other devotees are telling us also not to do? Why do we do something which we have heard in Shastra is also not good for us? Why? Because of weakness of heart. Because we're very weak in our heart, we don't have that willpower to do the right thing. Just like, the classical example is of smoking. Everyone knows smoking is bad, right? They have read in the books, in high school. Smoking is bad. Smoking causes cancer, smoking causes lung disease, this disease, that disease, so on and so forth. So they've read in the Shastras, so-called, Shastras, in the books that smoking is bad. And they have heard from their friends, smoking is bad. They have heard from the doctors, experts in medicinal science, smoking is bad. So from all angles, they know smoking is bad, but still they smoke. Why? Because their willpower is very weak. They're very weak at heart, their willpower determination is very weak, and they're forced to do it. Although everyone is telling them don't do it, they have read in the books, it's not good, still they keep doing it because They're weak at heart because their willpower is very weak. Same situation is there for all of us in our spiritual lives. Many things we do, we know it's wrong. Other devotees have told us it's not good. Don't do this. Our gurus, our spiritual master have also told us this is not good. But still we keep doing it. Why? Same reason. Because of weak willpower. Because of weakness of heart. Same thing we see in Bhagavad Gita with Arjuna. Deep inside his heart, he knows, yes, I should fight. Krishna is asking me to fight, I should fight. But what does he say in second chapter? Karpanya doso pahata swabhava. My dear Krishna, I know I'm doing something wrong, but due to miserly weakness of heart. So if you look in the translation, Prabhupada translates it as, due to miserly weakness, due to weakness of heart, I am unable to fight. I'm unable to do the right thing. So now I accept you as my guru. You please give me instructions. You please help me overcome this weakness of heart. So for all of us, every week, every day, every hour, we have this issue. Every minute we have choices we can make. And those choices, either we can go with the dictations of our mind, where our 6 enemies are sitting, lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, madness. So it's mentioned our 6 worst enemies, they're all residing in our mind. So one option is you follow either lust, envy, greed, anger. You can follow one of these enemies who are sitting in our mind. Second option is you follow something that you've learned from Shastra, or you follow something that you've learned from sadhus, or you follow something that you've learned from your Guru Maharaj. But so many times during the day, we end up doing the wrong thing. We end up going with our mind. Why? Because weakness. Weakness in heart, weakness in willpower. So same thing Mother Sati, she faced. She knows the right thing to do is to follow what Shiva is saying. He is the greatest of all Vaishnavas. Whatever he says is perfect. Whatever he says will come true. He's saying, don't go. Okay, I should follow him. But still, I have this urge. I want to see my father. I want to see my relatives. I want to see my sisters. So long I haven't seen them. So one side, her mind is saying, go. On the other side, Shiva is saying, don't go. Who should I follow? Prabhupada explains, because of weakness of heart, she's unable to follow Lord Shiva. And she goes. So exact same situation we all go through in life. How many times? Hundreds and thousands of times. Every day we go through it. For example, we have heard so many times and we've read so many times that when we chant Hare Krishna in the morning, when we chant our japa, we should chant attentively. We shouldn't space out, we shouldn't think of so many other things, but we should just focus and just chant and hear each and every syllable and chant very, very attentively. Right? We've heard this so many times, right? How many times? Hundreds and thousands of times in classes, in Prabhupada's books, from sadhus and everyone. But still, what happens when we chant? Initially, we're chanting, focusing. After 1 round, 2 round, again, mind wanders. And before we know it, 5 rounds have gone, 10 rounds have gone. Then we wonder, oh my God, 10 rounds already finished. What's happening? And time is just flying, 1 hour gone. That's it, 10 rounds gone. I only have 6 rounds left. Okay, let me at least focus last 6 rounds. But then still, by this time, mind is all over the place. Very hard to bring the mind back. So that's one classical example. That we know when we chant Hare Krishna, we should chant very attentively. But still, our mind wanders so much. Why? Because so much weakness we have inside. So much weakness in our willpower. So much weakness in our minds. Like this, so many examples are there. Someone insults us, someone speaks bad against us. We know by coming to Bhagavatam class and hearing about Lord Shiva's example, we know that we should be silent, not retaliate, not say anything harsh in return. So we've heard this so many times, but still when the situation comes in our own life, we're unable to control our tongue. And we start speaking harsh words back in response to that person who's insulting us. Why? Again, weakness of willpower, weakness of heart. We're unable to control our tongue. So the question is, how to overcome this weakness? How can we become strong like Lord Shiva? Lord Shiva, he doesn't have weakness of heart. He doesn't have weak willpower. Like we see in this case, Daksha is insulting him, but he has so much sense control. He has so much spiritual strength, spiritual willpower that he's able to control his senses and not say anything in response and just take the insult, tolerate, and just walk away. So how can we become strong like Lord Shiva? How can we overcome this weakness of heart, this weak willpower. For that, Shastra explains, we need spiritual strength. We need bala. Bala means strength. And who has bala? Balaram. So we have Balaram ji on our altar next to Lord Jagannath. So Balaram is Krishna's brother. And his name literally means one who gives spiritual strength. Bala means strength, not material strength. So it's not that if you worship Balaram, you will get big biceps, you'll become big macho man. But no, Prabhupada says, Balaram, he doesn't give material strength, he gives spiritual strength. And when we get this spiritual strength from Lord Balaram, then Prabhupada explains, we can overcome whatever weakness of heart we have. So that is the mercy of Balaram. So that's why Prabhupada explains Lord Baladev or Balaram or Nityananda Prabhu. So on the right side of the altar we have Balaram, who is whitish in complexion next to Lord Jagannath. And then on the left altar we have Shishi Gaur Nitai, who are Krishna and Balaram in Kali Yuga. They have come as Shishi Gaur Nitai. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna himself in the mood of Srimati Radharani, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya. And next to him is Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is Lord Balaram himself. Balaram Hoila Nitai. So whichever side of the altar you go, you can get spiritual strength. If you go to left side of altar, you can get spiritual strength from Nityananda Prabhu. If you go to right side of altar, you can pray to Balaram, same personality, and you can get spiritual strength. In this way, Prabhupada explains, in the lives of all practitioners, Lord Balaram or Nityananda Prabhu, he has a very significant role to play. If we don't take shelter of Nityananda Prabhu, if one doesn't take shelter of Lord Balaram and beg him for his mercy, beg him for spiritual strength to overcome weakness of heart, then Prabhupada explains one cannot make any advancement. One will keep doing the wrong thing again and again and again. Just like the guy smoking the cigarette. He knows it's wrong, but because he's weak inside, he keeps doing the same wrong thing again and again and again and again. Same thing we'll keep doing. We know this is wrong, that is wrong. We know we should be doing this, we know we should be doing that. But because we're weak, we're not doing the things which we're supposed to do. And because we're weak, we keep doing the things that we know is not good for us. Why? Because of weakness. So whatever challenge we face in our spiritual life, whatever weakness we have, it could be something like waking up early in the morning. We know we should wake up early in the morning, come for Mangalati, but because of weakness we're unable to do, then come in front of Gaur Nitai, pray to Nityananda Prabhu. My dear Nityananda Prabhu, I know I should wake up early in the morning, but because of weakness, I'm unable to do so. You please give me spiritual strength so I can overcome my senses and mind and every day get up early in the morning and attend Mangalati. Or we know something is wrong, but we keep doing that wrong thing, then again we can come to Nityananda Prabhu and say, offer same prayer, but dear Nityananda Prabhu, I know it's wrong to speak harsh words to devotees, but some or other, I always, while talking to devotees, I always end up saying something that's a bit harsh or a bit rude, and I feel like I might be offending devotees. Can you please give me spiritual strength to control my tongue, which I'm finding so difficult to control. I know it's wrong, but still, while I talk, some or other, I speak something that's a bit rude or a bit impolite, and I feel like, I might be offending other devotees. Please give me the strength to control my tongue. Then Nityananda Prabhu or Lord Balaram, he'll give us the spiritual strength to overcome our bad habits. So either way, if we have some bad habit, which we know we shouldn't be doing, but we can't stop doing it, we come and pray to Nityananda Prabhu. We come and pray to Balaram. Please give me strength to overcome this bad habit. Or on the other side, we know something good we should be doing, but we're not able to imbibe that good habit or that good practice in our spiritual life. For example, a good habit is to chant nice, good, attentive 16 rounds of Maha Mantra every day. But due to weakness of heart, our rounds are very low quality, not so attentive, very inattentive. So again, we can come and pray to Balaram. My dear Balaram, I know I should be chanting very nice, good rounds for your pleasure every day, but I'm unable to do so. I'm so weak. Please bless me so I can chant very nice, good, attentive rounds for Radha Gopinath every day. So whether we're too weak to do a to take up a good habit or whether we're too weak to stop a bad habit, either way we come to Balaram. Either way we come to Nityananda Prabhu and we pray for spiritual strength. That way we can overcome our bad habits and we can imbibe good habits which will help us advance. If we don't do, then just like the guy who's keep on smoking, we'll keep on doing the bad things and we'll keep on be unable to do the good things and we'll just stay where we are or we'll go downwards. That's why Prabhupada explains that Lord Balaram, Nityananda Prabhu, their role in our spiritual lives is very, very important. If one doesn't take shelter of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, if one doesn't take shelter of Lord Balaram, one cannot make any spiritual advancement. There's one example given in the Shastra, and that Krishna, he gives us the sword of knowledge. So through the Shastras, Krishna is giving us different instructions. Maya Mugda Jivera Nahi Swata Krishna Gran Jivera Kripaya Koila Krishna Veda Puran. So it's mentioned that Krishna, he looks down from Goloka Vrindavan into the material universes and he sees all the jivas, he sees all of us suffering, so much in this material world, acting like mad people. And Krishna, when he sees all these jivas suffering, he feels very compassionate. He feels very bad for them. Maya Mugda Jivera Nahi Swata Krishna Gan Jivera Kripaya. Kripa, mercy or compassion arises in Krishna's heart when he sees all the jivas suffering in the material world. Then when you're feeling compassion for someone, you want to help them and do something for them. So what does Krishna do after he feels compassion? Jivera Kripaya Koila Krishna Veda Puran. After feeling compassion for all the jivas, Krishna then comes and writes the Vedas and Puranas. So all the Shastras that we have, the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, Itihasas, these are all compiled by Krishna or Krishna's avatars. And these Shastras are coming directly from Krishna. And this is Krishna's mercy upon the fallen conditioned souls. This is the way how Krishna plans to bring back all the fallen conditioned souls back to Goloka Vrindavan. So that's why the Shastra says that Krishna, he has given us the sword of knowledge through the Shastras. And what do you do with the sword? You can cut free from the shackles of Maya. So it's mentioned that Maya or Durga Devi, she has bound us up with the three modes of material nature. It said Tri Guna Mai. There in the picture of Bhagavad Gita, you see these three guys and you see three Madhijis on the top. So that's Rajagun, Sattvagun, Tamagun. And they're being, like puppets, forced to act this way and that way. So we're all tightly bound by the three modes of material nature. So how to get free of these shackles of Maya? One needs a sword. If one has a sword, immediately he can cut free all the ropes which is around him. He can cut free from all his bad habits, anathas. In this way, liberate himself and go back to the spiritual world. But Shastras explain this sword of knowledge which Krishna has given us is very, very heavy. It's very, very heavy, and one cannot lift it up by his own endeavor. So to lift up the sword and to use the sword to break free from the clutches of Maya or illusion, one needs strength from Baladev or from Nityananda Prabhu. So in the Shastras, Krishna will give different instructions. That's the sword of knowledge. But to practically apply those instructions in our life, we need mercy of Lord Balaram. Unless one begs Lord Balaram for strength, one won't be able to follow the instructions Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita. So many instructions Krishna gives in Gita, right? One shouldn't be envious, one should be equipoised, one shouldn't have any friends or enemies, one should be tolerant, one should think about me 24 hours a day. So many instructions Krishna has given. But are we able to follow all of that? Are we able to practically apply in our life? Maybe 2%, 5%, 10% of all the instruction Gita we're able to apply. 90% we're unable to apply. Why? Because the sword of knowledge is very, very heavy. To be able to pick up the sword and to use it to cut free, one needs some muscle power. spiritual muscle power. And that spiritual strength comes from Balaram. Unless one prays to Lord Baladev, please help me follow this instruction, which is there in Gita. Please help me follow this instruction, which my Guru Maharaj has given me. My Guru Maharaj has told me I should do this every day, but I'm unable to do. Please give me mercy, please give me strength so I can do this seva which my Guru Maharaj has asked me to do. Then Balaram will empower us. He will give us strength. Then we'll be able to pick up the sword of knowledge and cut free from the bondage of illusion. So in this way, Lord Balaram, he plays a very significant role in all of our lives. So every day we should come in front of Lord Balaram and in front of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and beg for their mercy, if we are serious in advancing in our spiritual life. So in that way we won't go through what Mother Sati, she has gone through. Due to weakness, she has disobeyed what Lord Shiva has instructed us. Now coming to today's verse. So Mother Sati, out of compassion for Daksha, she is speaking words of advice towards Daksha, to bring some sense to Daksha. Her purpose is, by speaking heavy words to Daksha, she wants to wake up Daksha from his illusion and to help him overcome his envy towards Lord Shiva, to help him overcome his pride. So in today's verse, she is instructing that, these great souls, personalities like Lord Shiva, their dust, the dust of their lotus feet is very, very powerful. If you do serve them very nicely by the dust of their lotus feet, you can make a lot of spiritual advancement. You can get a lot of blessings. But if you offend their lotus feet, if you offend the dust of their lotus feet, then you will go to hell. You will just glide further and further and further down. So in this way, she warns Daksha. And in the purport, Prabhupada explains that the dust of the lotus feet, I'll read the purport, one line. Prabhupada says, the dust of the lotus feet of great personalities offers all good to the recipient, but the same dust can also do harm. So it's like a double-edged sword. Pure Vaishnavas, if we offer them proper respect and honor, serve them nicely, you will go up very, very quickly. You'll make a lot of advancement. But Prabhupada says the same sadhu, if you disrespect them, instead of making advancement, you will go down very, very quickly. So you might be, just in neutral ground, not advancing or not going down. But somehow other you come across a Vaishnava, you offend them, then you'll start going down very, very quickly. But that same Vaishnava, if you deal with them nicely, you'll go up. So it's like a double-edged sword. So Prabhupada says we should be careful. Generally it's said, like Prabhupada is explaining in this purport, that when we offend a devotee, we actually offend the dust of the lotus feet of that devotee. And that's why in Shastra there's examples when someone offends a Vaishnava, the way to get forgiveness is that you take the dust of that Vaishnava's feet. Because generally when one commits Vaishnava Prat, one is actually offending the dust of that Vaishnava's feet, or dust of that Vaishnava's feet. Classical example is that of Mother Sachi and Advaita Acharya. So after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he takes sannyas, Mother Sachi, in her mind she's holding this kind of ill feeling towards Advaita Acharya. That, this Advaita Acharya, because of him, 2 of my sons have left me. Now I'm all alone. Firstly, Vishwarup, he was spending so much time with Advaita Acharya, then he took sannyas, left me. Then Nimai, he was the only son I had. He was my life and soul. Now him also associating with Advaita Acharya, he has also taken sannyas and gone away. What is this? Who is this Advaita Acharya? Like this she's thinking in her mind. Because of that she commits an aparad. As the Leela goes, Mother Sachi is Mother Yasoda herself, how can she commit any aparad? But as the Leela goes, this is what happens. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later on says, I will give Krishna prem to everyone except for my own mother, Mother Sachi. Why? Because she has committed offense at the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya. And only if she begs forgiveness, gets the dust of his feet, then I will forgive. So Mother Sachi goes and the Vaishnavas tell that this is what has happened. Mahaprabhu said that Mother Sachi has offended you. You please forgive Mother Sachi. And then Advaita Acharya, he just can't believe what he's hearing. He's saying, Mother Sachi offend me? How can she offend me? She is Mother Yasoda. She is my mother. She is the mother of the whole universe. And then, as if he had 100 mouths, he just starts glorifying Mother Sachi, Mother Yasoda, left, right, and center, just speaking like a madman about the glories of Mother Sachi. And in complete ecstasy, he's just glorifying Mother Sachi so much so that in ecstasy, he just faints. Then when he faints, then Mother Sachi, she quickly comes and takes the dust off the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya. In this way, the offense is neutralized. So in this way, this is one example of Shastras, of the power of the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. So when we offend a devotee, we're actually offending the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee. So the way to rectify is, you offer them obeisances and you take their dust. By taking their dust and offering obeisances, apologies, the offense gets neutralized. But the same dust, if we serve nicely and become a source of pleasure for that devotee, then one will make very nice spiritual advancement. So in this way, Prabhupada, he explains in today's purport. Ghanshyam Prabhu, when he was giving class, he was quoting one verse from 10th canto about what happens if we offend a devotee, how one goes downwards. Once it's given, one's ayu, one's lifespan will go down, one's beauty will go down, blessings one has collected from others will go down, one's elevation to higher planets will go down. In this way, 6 different items are given. Is when we offend someone, when you offend a Vaishnava, these 6 things will go down. Some disease will come, sickness will come upon us, our lifespan will get reduced, our beauty will get reduced, our wealth will get reduced, blessings we have collected from others will get reduced, our religion, dharma, that also get reduced, we'll commit more and more pride, we'll become more and more demoniac. And all these things we'll see with Daksha. In the coming chapters, we'll see how all of these 6 things Daksha will end up losing as a result of his offense against Lord Shiva, the topmost of all devotees. So the greater the Vaishnava, you can take it, the greater the reaction is for aparad. So Shiva is the greatest of all devotees, so someone offends him, one can expect very heavy reactions. Okay, so it's already 8:59. If there's any question, we can take one question. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, so question is, in the translation, Mother Sati is saying, such envy on the part of materialistic persons is very good because that is the way they fall down. So this is kind of like a subtle way. Mother Sati, she's kind of out of frustration, she's cursing her father, Daksha, that you're so envious and it seems like you're not budging, even though I'm speaking words to you to try to help you overcome, but still I can notice that it's having no effect on you. Actually, this envy you're having towards Lord Shiva, in one sense, it's good. Because as a result of this envy, you will do more and more pride, and as a result of that, you will get punished by Vishnu. And when you get punished by Vishnu, then you will wake up. And that's what we'll see happening in the later chapters. That as a result of his offense, he will undergo a severe reaction. For example, his head will be cut off. He will be replaced by the head of a goat. And all of his associates, they will get smashed by the followers of Lord Shiva. Like there's so many reactions he has to undergo. So in this way, she is kind of, out of frustration, gently cursing Daksha. That I'm trying to help you, preach to you, but you're not listening, you're still holding that grudge. Okay, in one sense, this is good. Continue being envious, continue being proud. Soon, your downfall will come. And then when you get smashed as a result of your offense, then you will wake up. And that's what we'll see later on. After Daksha gets smashed, then he will come to his senses, then he will come, falling at Lord Shiva's feet and beg for forgiveness. One last point, because you're referring to a translation. One thing that came to mind, Prabhupada is saying here in this, it's there in the translation purport, Prabhupada says, the reasons persons like Daksha, they commit offenses against others is because they're in the bodily concept of life. So if we don't want to commit offenses, if we don't want to be envious of others, what should we do? We should get out of bodily concept of life. So what is the opposite of bodily consciousness? To be Krishna conscious. And what does it mean to be Krishna conscious? I read one very nice, we'll stop with this, very nice definition that Prabhupada gives in Krishna book of what it means to be Krishna conscious. Okay, Prabhupada says to be Krishna conscious means you have to do three things. So it's very important we can all remember these three things. Number one, Prabhupada says to be Krishna conscious means to always remember that we are simply the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna's devotees. That is point number one. Point number two is one should always remember that he is the most insignificant. So number two is one should always remember he is most insignificant. Number three, Prabhupada says to be Krishna conscious means to understand that whatever good he does in his spiritual life or whatever good he does anywhere is simply due to the mercy of Krishna and Guru. It's not due to his own abilities, prowess or potency, but any good thing we do in our life, it's simply because of Krishna's blessings. It's simply because of blessings of Guru. Prabhupada says if one ticks these three boxes, then you can say this person is Krishna conscious. So that is the opposite of bodily conscious. So if we can maintain ourselves in this platform, then this problem of being envious of others and committing offense against others won't be there. For example, take for Daksha, for example. If Daksha did point number one, which is to always think that he is the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna, then would he have become angry that Shiva didn't bow down to him? No. If he understood himself as servant of the servant, then he would see himself as servant of Lord Shiva. And he wouldn't have got offended that why Shiva didn't offer me pranams, why he didn't stand up. And if Daksha, point number two is to think oneself as most insignificant. If Daksha thought himself very insignificant, would he have been so proud and arrogant? No. So then again, he wouldn't have offended Lord Shiva. And point number three, if Daksha understood that whatever good he did, it was simply because of mercy of Guru and Krishna, again, would he have that big pride of being the topmost Prajapati or being the greatest of all or being even greater than Lord Shiva? No. That pride wouldn't have been there. So Krishna consciousness is the one-stop solution to all problems. If we just become Krishna consciousness, all problems will go away. And what does it mean to be Krishna consciousness? Krishna conscious, Prabhupada explains very nicely in this chapter in Krishna book. It's in the chapter where that snake comes to swallow Maharaj Nanda on Shivaratri. Oh, it's also related to Lord Shiva. On Shivaratri, Nanda Maharaj and his associates, they go to a particular place of pilgrimage. There they see a python. And this python is swallowing up Nanda Maharaj. In that particular chapter, if you read that chapter, Prabhupada writes this, that to be Krishna conscious means one should think he's always servant of the servant, he is most insignificant, and whatever good he does is by mercy of Guru and Krishna. Prabhupada says, if you tick all three of these boxes, you are Krishna conscious. And if you're Krishna conscious, you have no problems. Okay, with this we'll stop here. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande.